Hi, Donald Wayne Strout again with the fifth part in the series, The Pedals Are the Most Difficult and the Most Important Part. The first four parts of the series, we introduced the concept of a fast initial brake application followed by a gradual trailing off, and that the importance of that trail braking procedure is to use the brakes to help steer the car from the turn-in point to the apex. We introduced the importance of the immediate application of the throttle as soon as the brakes are released. Coasting is not a good thing. We introduced the concept of drills in order to improve your performance, to allow you to correct bad habits. We're going to introduce some new drills here in this part. These are all designed to improve your muscle memory and to change the information that flows through your neural pathways. You need to be able to achieve 55%, for example, 65% or 75% braking application without thinking about it. It needs to be almost instinctive. And you need to be able to understand and sense how much braking trailing off this, in other words, the speed and the amount of gradual releasing of the brakes that is necessary to achieve the best rotation. Essentially, you're using the brake to help steer the car. You also need to be sure that you're achieving the maximum rotation and the timing of that at the apex so that you can achieve an immediate application of the throttle without fear of understeering on the exit or from the apex to the exit. So all of these principles are going to be reviewed in this part. We're going to introduce some new drills. It takes 66 to 200 days of intensive practice to change some bad habits. I have a lot of them, so I have been practicing these drills for some time now, and I'm going to continue to do so for many, many more days. But I have achieved some improvement so far. My I rating has improved from 1500 to 2200 in the last 45 days. So these drills and this process does help you improve your performance and will increase your chances of winning races and finishing on the podium. Here's a review of the correct trail braking procedure in a hairpin turn driving the Formula V. Here's a close-up of the input graph showing the fast application of the brake along with the reduction in throttle simultaneously, and the gradual trailing off with the immediate application of the throttle and a downshift as soon as the brakes are released. In a previous episode, we introduced the left foot drill, where you sit in the car stationary with your input graph active and you apply the brakes repeatedly to view your performance. You pick a certain maximum braking number and reach it without necessarily watching, and you trail it off and then review your performance. In a previous episode, we introduced the drill called a U-turn drill. Here we expand and improve that drill to be a repeated U-turn, but in a figure eight pattern, turning left and right alternately to achieve a consistent turning radius as you would with all the inputs as you would in a hairpin turn. I find this drill to be particularly important and useful. It is a very good warm-up before you enter a practice or a race session. Gets your left foot used to initial application with a trailing off. Teaches you the correct procedure of applying the throttle immediately after releasing the brake and the downshift immediately after applying the throttle. Practicing at an oval track is very useful in that you get to review your results on a repeated basis very quickly. Here we're at Tsukuba in Japan on the outer ring, which is a short track that allows you to practice your trail braking in one corner with your careful application of throttle. Into the next corner, you're downshifting from fourth into third after your trail braking, and you're entering the main straightaway. So it gives you the ability to do alternately trail braking only in one corner and a trail brake with a downshift in the next. Here we are at Martinsville Speedway, which is a symmetrical track and relatively flat with very little banking. It gives you practice with your trail braking and a downshift, and will teach you to avoid the bad habit of maintaining throttle and applying the brakes at the same time. You can see that I violate this rule regularly, but good practice causes you to notice problems so that you can correct them over time. Here we are at North Wilkesboro Speedway, a little bit similar to Martinsville, except that there is enough banking that you don't have to use your brakes to go through the corners. This exercise and drill gets you a lot of practice using your throttle to modulate the turning, allows the release of the throttle to produce some trailing throttle oversteer, and allows you to steer the car with the throttle. A useful tool in many corners. Often we forget that the brake and the throttle are useful tools to help the car rotate. Often we use the brake and the throttle almost like an on-off switch, which is incorrect and will not produce optimum results. You will be slow when you do that. This left foot drill is a more comprehensive one than that previously introduced. Essentially, you're picking a number, 35%, 45%, 55%, or whatever, and you're achieving that without looking at it. In other words, you want to say, I want 35%, and you apply the brake, and you look at the input graph to see if you achieved your goal, and you can see if you can hold that number for a period of time. Then you can also do the same thing where you achieve a certain maximum brake pressure and you trail it off the way you desire to, with a certain amount of reduction speed or gradualness, if that's a word. This upcoming drill uses an elastic band to provide a method for you to exercise your ankle and calf muscle to achieve control of the application and release of the brakes. This is a very important exercise. As previously introduced, here is an input graph showing a perfect brake and throttle application in a hairpin corner. This next trace from Garage 61 telemetry will show you how not to apply the brakes. It's a common mistake made by me and many other drivers. It's essentially showing the application of the brake as an on-off switch. It often causes the car to slow down too much, which then causes the driver to release the brakes prematurely. The red line is my incorrect brake application. The blue line illustrates another driver's proper trailing brake application. You can notice that essentially I brake too hard and then find that I've slowed the car too much, so I release the brake suddenly. You may know that a sudden release of the brakes will actually cause a slight bit of additional rotation at that exact moment, but it also indicates that the car has slowed too much, and essentially you're going to be coasting because a initial or immediate application of the throttle would result in understeer on corner exit. Here is another example where I have improved my braking application. I've recognized that I needed to apply a bit more throttle in order to get the car to rotate near the apex. However, I am still not correctly trail braking. as is illustrated by the blue line. Don't forget that front brake bias and downshifting in between the turn-in and the apex points will affect the rotation of the car significantly. What we have talked about here is the traditional initial brake application and a gradual trailing off without downshifting in the section from turn-in to the apex. Many times you will downshift and the engine braking to the rear wheels or rear axle will significantly simulate the application of the rear brakes only and will increase rotation significantly. Similarly, a reduction in front brake bias will increase the efficiency or the magnitude of the trail braking exercise with your left foot. As your skill level advances, you will recognize that throttle blipping during the downshift in the section from the turn-in point to the apex will significantly reduce the engine braking applied to the rear axle. You will be able to use the varying front brake bias and the varying timing of your downshift to achieve optimum results. But in every case, the skill of precision control of the left brake pedal will be a significant tool to produce your best lap times. I want to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation for the excellent coaching I received from Gianni Luzzu, who pointed out many of the shortcomings in my brake and throttle applications that were resulting or were causing my lack of performance. By following these drills and his advice, I have achieved significant improvement, and I hope to continue to do so with the use of these drills over the next several months. I hope you have found these videos useful and hope you have a great time with a lot of fun in iRacing. It's a great pastime, hobby, and sport.